My Hero Academia is one of the most hyped shows currently airing, and is one that I believe has a lot of unrealized potential so far. My Hero is a very high quality show that follows the template of its predecessors, but hasn't been able to outreach them. Since the 4th season is about to air, I want to interrogate the things that I like and don't like about the series, so I can contextualize the potential for the rest of the show. Spoiler warning for the first 3 seasons of My Hero, and along with that, I will only be covering the anime as I have not read any of the manga, and I am already sad that I got Bakugo's death spoiled for me. First, I want to talk about my favorite aspects of the show, and I have to begin with the animation. The reason I started watching My Hero in the first place was not only from strong recommendations from some of my close friends, but the animation that was displayed in the first episode. The animation is incredibly endearing, with punchy and high-impact character designs. The animation immediately got me invested in the show, even if I wasn't initially very impressed with the story. The animation also shines later in the show with the fight scenes, by highlighting the intensely emotional encounters in the series. Fight scenes are one of the biggest appeals to shonen anime, and My Hero does an incredible job of weaving in character goals and developments within each battle. Every fight in the show carries an immense amount of weight for the 2 people participating in them. There is an emotional hurdle to climb for the characters, and the best example of this is Bakugo vs Midoriya at the end of Season 3. Bakugo vs Midoriya is my favorite fight from the show because of the great character arcs woven into the battle, along with nuanced choreography. The biggest issue with the fights in My Hero is the often bland choreography. Most of the fights are just a few punches back and forth with a big final move. The battles often lack technical nuance, but Bakugo vs Midoriya is different than the rest. To set the stage for why this fight is so good, we need to go over where each character is mentally. Bakugo, with an ego the size of Mount Everest, has become increasingly annoyed with how strong Midoriya has become, especially with the realization that All Might, Bakugo's idol, has been helping Midoriya the whole time. For Midoriya, he has always looked up to and been jealous of Bakugo and his amazing quirk. Even though Bakugo treated him horribly when they were younger, Midoriya uses what Bakugo does to learn and wants to surpass him in his journey to becoming the #1 hero. The fight is one of the many clashes between these two, but it is the most nuanced of the bunch. Both characters have complicated motivations and aspirations with this fight, and that complicated nature spills into the choreography. The back and forth punches and few well thought out moves are replaced with raw emotion and great use of individual fighting styles. The fight is breathtaking with its animation. The build-up from both character arcs so far in the show adds weight that no other fight in the show has. This is also one of the first real moments that we get more of Bakugo's perspective. Bakugo has felt an immense amount of guilt for being the reason that All Might ended up losing his powers. In earlier episodes, building up to the conflict, we get to see Midoriya's guilt for not being able to protect Bakugo. Still, Bakugo's guilt is far worse than Midoriya's, because he got kidnapped, so All Might had to save him. Through this fight, we not only get action that is grounded with character progression, but the fight is essential for Midoriya and Bakugo's relationship. This fight needed to happen to progress their relationship further, and is an example of the best types of fights in shonen. The best shonen battles don't feel like forced action for the viewer, but an inevitable and deeply emotional conversation between 2 characters told through fighting. This type of fight is something that My Hero has barely scratched the surface of, and is something that the show can capitalize on in the future. This fight leads me to my favorite part of the show, and that is Bakugo. Bakugo is by far my favorite character, which is extremely impressive when it comes to how he starts the show. I know there has been many other spectacular videos on the subject, and I will link those below, but I want to give my 2 cents. At the start of the show, Bakugo seems irredeemable because we never get to see his perspective, and this seems like a very intentional choice. The first season, Bakugo is a terrible kid who bullies everyone and wants to kill everything, and this serves 2 main purposes. The first is to make the other members of Class 1A look better. Midoriya is very easy to empathize with early in the story because Bakugo acts like a villain. In superhero stories, this is often the case with the villains. Make the villain as bad and irredeemable as possible to make your heroes look as good as possible. This is a very simple technique to use in any story that wants to empower the viewer, but Bakugo expands on that concept. The second purpose is to slowly build on his character for the surprise moment of the show in Season 3, the moment where Bakugo doesn't turn evil. We don't get to see Bakugo's perspective, so we identify him as a villain-type character. Bakugo refuses that role in Season 3 as he wants to win like All Might, showing us that there may be more to his character. After this point, we get to see more moments from him. We get to hear Bakugo's true feelings, which makes us understand and root for him. It is evident that Bakugo struggles with an inferiority complex. But what is most interesting about that is how it comments on villains and heroes at the same time. We all know that villains become who they are because of one bad day, a small decision that turned them down a different path. What Bakugo does as a character is to show us how villainous tendencies can help you succeed as a hero. Bakugo is bashful and loudmouthed, but he is also perceptive and incredibly skilled. Even though he acts as arrogant as a villain, you can see how his ways could very easily translate to being a hero. One of the reasons Bakugo has developed villain-like tendencies is because of the expectations of others. When Bakugo first discovers his quirk, his peers and teachers praise him for how he will be a great hero someday. Those expectations put on him as a young child end up developing to an extreme and creating a deep-rooted inferiority complex. The only way Bakugo knows how to cope with the expectations of being great is by rejecting any thought that he isn't the best. Bakugo progresses and develops over the 3 seasons as we slowly uncover why he is the way he is, allowing us to understand his flaws. Since shonen anime always deals with heroes striving for a spectacular goal, Bakugo is an exploration about how that goal might negatively affect someone. Even with all of these positives, I still believe there is a huge amount of missed potential within the series. I do think these negatives can be changed in the future as the series is still early in its run, but as the time of making this video, I believe they hold My Hero back. The first is the majority of characters in the show. The characters in My Hero not only feel like shells of characters I have watched in shows previously, but they feel like a slogan for different heroic ideologies. Everyone has their unique perspective on being a hero, and these perspectives can make for an exciting scene and serve the show just fine. But as the seasons have started to pile up, characters feel like inconsistent ideologies more than characters themselves. Take Midoriya, for example. Midoriya is the perfect showcase for the theory that luck is when opportunity meets preparation. Midoriya has been preparing his whole life for trying to be a hero with no powers, so when he is given the greatest quirk, he is able to capitalize on that. However, the issue with his character comes into play when he is constantly touted as the symbol for what a hero should be, but then he continually acts in contradictory ways. Throughout the show, you see Midoriya doing more and more reckless things to save people under the justification that he acts on instinct. Even though at times Midoriya gets scolded, or is told that if he does these wild things a few more times, he will be permanently hurt, he never stops doing them. It is all okay in the end because someone will come to help, or he will unlock a hidden power that his overpowered quirk provides him. The issue with this writing is how Midoriya believes in the ideology of acting no matter what and saving people no matter the cost, even though at multiple points in the show he tells other students not to act in this way. When he is at the summer camp in the forest, with both his arms completely destroyed, Midoriya tells his peers not to fly into battle, even though that is what he is currently doing. He tells his fellow heroes in training not to meddle in a place where heroes aren't technically supposed to go, even though that is how he got his quirk in the first place. And that would be fine. A character should have flaws, except this flaw isn't ever talked about. Midoriya is never genuinely punished for acting this way, and hasn't come to terms with the potentially harmful way he has been acting. The show presents the idea that he does reckless things because he wants to be a hero, even though Midoriya tells others not to follow the same path because it is harmful. Midoriya's ideology is confusing and contradicts some of his actions in the show. This confusing ideology makes it hard to understand Midoriya's perspective. When talking about Midoriya's characteristics, outside of being shy and nerdy, we can only describe him through his ideology of being a hero, not by the person he actually is. These issues with Midoriya's character writing can be applied to many of the characters in the show. The biggest thing the show needs to fix is developing those ideologies into real characters who feel like people trying to be heroes instead of megaphones for what a hero should be. One of the most interesting aspects of My Hero is how it functions within the shonen and superhero genres. Coming off the wave of Naruto and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, My Hero walks the line between further developing tropes used in this type of storytelling and following the same path as its predecessors. Many of the characters feel like a version of other characters we have seen in shows within the same genre. Todoroki is a far less interesting version of Zuko from Avatar: The Last Airbender. Aizawa is a less inspired version of Kakashi from Naruto, and All Might is like Captain America for Japan. The characters either feel like shadows of other popular characters, or more like an ideology than a person. These negatives could be viewed as nitpicky in a way, because I am still watching the show and am excitedly awaiting Season 4. I truly think the show has an infinite amount of potential. It has the chance to not only expand on the shonen genre, but the superhero genre as well. A chance to have a cast of characters that are well developed and explore what it means to be a hero instead of just being an ideology of what a hero should be. Bakugo's development is masterfully told, and the last fight between him and Midoriya was one of the best scenes in the show so far. However, if the show continues on the path it is on, it will be hugely popular and provide the audience with some satisfying moments. But just like Midoriya and Bakugo, the show should be reaching for heights it has set itself up to achieve. The potential is limitless. My Hero Academia has the chance to provoke a dialogue about our most popular genres, and a chance to have a claim in Shonen's Mount Rushmore. Or maybe it will just be another well-animated show that couldn't quite reach the heights of its predecessors.